Patrick, hi, how are you, by the way? Hey, welcome to the show. I have to ask you about the Green Day thing, because the American Idiot. Because for our audience, our show does a lot of, we talk about politics, we talk about, you know, the way lots of things happen around the world, right?
Here's what it came down to. I was watching flipping through something, and there's their bullet in the Bible thing came on, and it's their, and they're playing American Idiot, and it's a bunch of English kids screaming it. You wanna be an American Idiot? And I thought I thought, you think you're so punk rock, and you're doing your American Idiot DVD that, you know, in England. That's not punk rock to me. If they would have done it in their hometown, or they would have done it in Washington, D.C., you know what I mean? That would have made more sense. You know, some American kids screaming, that would have meant more to me.
Oh, it's too easy to do it out there.
Well, it means something different to those people when you know, to English kids or German kids right now. American Idiot means a lot more. You know, it means it's a totally different meaning to them than it is a kid, you know, where are they from, Oakland or whatever, you know, singing it. And that's all that I meant.
Well, yeah, that's cool. What's speaking to you now then musically when you hear somebody, you know, doing their thing? What is, you know, actually as a music fan, new stuff that's really getting you going?
We're big hopefuls that, because we're not a part of anything. There's no movement. There's no community or movement that we're with. There's no grunge with the Killers. There's no, you know, and then there's all these. There are so many great bands, and you have the Strokes, and you have the Arcade Fire, and you have Franz Ferdinand, you have the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and you have the Killers, you have Kings of Leon, Kasabian. None of us are really together.
And there's no cohesive sound either.
No, so it's really it's strange. So there's nothing there for the record labels to stick in a lump and mark it.
Yeah.
And so we're really hoping that some type of revolution is happening, because these people are writing great songs, and they belong on the radio. And
you can ask all those bands that were lumped into those groups, right?
Yeah.
They hated being lumped in. You know, if you were inside that punk movement and the post-punk, you hated being in it. If you were inside grunge, you hated being in grunge. Yeah. Is it better that you're not lumped in with something like that?
Maybe it is, but that's the problem is that it's difficult for the record labels to. They need to have groups of things. So they need emo. And they need
nobody needs emo.
Okay, but no, but they need to have that
a name
to sell to people.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky because we are outside of any of it. So, but
you'd think they'd learn though, because I think that when you put a name on it, I think it's way worse, because it seems like a lot of these trends are lasting very short time, and then if you're even connected to that trend, you're connected to. You know.
You were lumped in with the bands, which I don't know what that means, aside from that it said in the front of your name.
The Beatles.
Yeah.
The Cure.
The Smiths. Yeah, you were in with those bands. But it didn't seem like it seemed like a record that was written by guys who'd rather be men than boys. Is what it felt like to me. And I didn't feel like that on Hot Fuss. On Hot Fuss, I felt like it was a record written by a bunch of boys who like being in a rock and roll band, who have all these cool songs.
Yeah.
But when I heard this record, I thought they'd rather be men than boys.
Yes, that's very true. I mean, we're happy to be, you know, Dave's like 39. And,
30,
yeah.
So no, I mean, there's a time, you know, you're growing, and you should get to that place, and we're there, I think.
Which means that your next record will probably be really interesting.
It'll be, you know, men trying to be young again.
That's great. You get up. Right on, man. Nice to see you. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There you go, huh? Two fine folks in The Killers on the program. Pretty good show so far today, including Bob Geldof, who was on again. Remind you, the full Bob Geldof interview is available online at cbc.ca/the hour. There is going to be an interesting moment on our show next week. How interesting? Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what we got. It's next week, and it's this. If you haven't seen enough of The Hour, sit tight. In about 23 hours from now, Kenny versus Spenny.
Don't touch me! I'm serious! Don't touch me!
And one of the most interesting and controversial figures in sports, the Argonaut's Ricky Williams.